Sometimes you might want to place items outside of the base walls, or the editor is telling you that you can't place an item as close to the wall as you'd like. You might want to disguise the walls so that they can be viewed from outside the base as something other than a base, such as when you'd like to make a spacecraft without having a base looming overhead or laid out visibly below. The technique I'm going to show you is one I figured out when making the spaceship ONES 5030 on Excelsior. Note that you cannot see a base above or below because this ship is built in and on and around the actual base. To do this technique, you must have enough room on the plot grid to be able to place at least a small 1 or 2 square room next to your building. You can upgrade to a larger plot to do so if there's a larger plot available, and then switch back to a smaller plot later if you wish. Remember, to place a room, you need at least one space between the room you want to place and the room that's already on the grid. Item placement operates under the strict rule of items must be placed within the areas of rooms. This area extends vertically, but did you know that it can also be extended horizontally? We are going to add a room to the side of the base to do this technique, which is why you need the plot space to be able to do that. I figured out that what they've done is to assign half of the doorway space to the room on the one side and half to the other side. You can see this in the style difference here. This half of the doorway is arcane and assigned to the small arcane room, and this half of the door is tech and so assigned to the small tech room. If you place an item's grab point, which is usually the center of the item, within the bounds of the half of the doorway that belongs to the room you want to stay that you're covering, it will stay after you delete the extra room, because its assigned placement is the room that stayed. As long as that point is not past the center of the doorway, the object should stay after the extra room you placed is deleted. Now, even though it is going to ask you every time, if you're sure you really want to delete that room, don't worry, you can undo that just like you undo other deletions. If you place it past that halfway point, it will be deleted when you delete the room. But don't worry, again, you can bring it back with Ctrl-Z. Be sure to adjust the item to where you want it before deleting the room, because once you delete the room, you again are unable to place or move items that are there unless a room or doorway is present. So, by doing this, as you can see, I can quickly have a large object, or several small objects for that matter, covering the outside of the base or in the base wall without even being able to see them poking through on the inside, unless I choose to have that. And the Arachnos balconies work well for this, but they only come in black. If you want a lighter color, you might try the autonomous system, turned upside down, but it is much thicker. For thicker objects, you can do a couple of things. First, you can angle it so that the part that's angled out is outside of the base wall, and the part that needs to be inside the room, and count as inside the room, is above or below the room bounds, but that is still outside of the visible room bounds. If you can't get it to where you want it so that the outside is covered and there's still room inside for what you want, consider expanding outward so that you can cover what's poking through. In my experience, no one really notices how thick walls and floors and ceilings are, which makes it much easier to hide things. And using this technique, you can make the outside shape of your base be a part of your overall look instead of the base itself being something in the distance you have to try to block or hide. Now, if you don't have the space available on one side of your base to place a room, but you do have space available on the other side of the base, you can actually just move the plot. Go to /edit base space 3, choose either the same plot or a different plot, and simply place it in a position that moves the grid so that you have the space you need where you need it. You can do this anytime, and it can completely get around moving rooms. Moving rooms can be difficult or impossible if you have items that are not completely inside of the room, much less completely in a doorway that is now gone. This is also a useful technique anytime you want to place an object closer to or even within a base wall, and the editor tells you no. If there's space to add a room and a door, and the wall is not itself a doorway, you can put up a temporary wall, such as this collision wall, so you can see where the wall face is to make sure that whatever you are placing is positioned the way you want it to be once the base wall is back in place. This technique is great for placing letters into walls so they don't stick out and interfere with readability, and for saving space and tidying up base storage placement, among other things. Once you've finished placing what you want to position, just delete the room and you're done. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.